Hello, my name is Simon Edgoose, and in this series of videos we're going to show you how you can get the best out of your Yamaha DTX M12. In this video we're going to look at creating your own MIDI patterns inside the M12, and for that I'm going to use this keyboard. Now, one very important thing to point out, you are not hearing any of the sounds from this keyboard. Everything you hear is coming from the DTX M12. I've connected the MIDI output on the keyboard to the MIDI input of the M12, and every time I press a key here, it plays the sound from the M12. Let me show you what I mean. It's very easy to record your own patterns using the M12. You can just drop into record and hit the pads and record your performance and then play it back. But the problem with that is that you've just used all the pads that you might want to play over the top, a drum pattern or something like that. So if we use a MIDI keyboard like this, we can access lots of different sounds which aren't actually on these 12 pads. Let me show you what I mean. So each pad here has a corresponding key on this keyboard. So for instance, if I press this note here, it's the same as the bass drum here. If I press this key here, it's the same as the snare drum pad. Then we also have the toms. But we also have all the other keys which we haven't even used yet. So we can use these to help us write some really interesting patterns to do whatever we want with, which is great fun and also incredibly useful. So let's have a look. To start recording a pattern, we press the pattern button, and then we press shift and pattern again, and that takes us into recording mode. Now on the screen it shows me that we've got 4 measures, so we have a 4-bar loop, but I'm going to change that to 2 bars. Then we have Q for quantize, and quantize means it's correcting the timing, so it makes everything in time. I'm going to turn that on and to 16th notes, so it's going to correct my timing to 16th notes. And then the last symbol on the right means that it's going to loop round, so it's going to, when it gets to the end, it's just going to go back to the beginning, and I can just put more sounds over the top. The tempo is 120 beats a minute. So we are ready to go. So I'm going to press the pattern button again, and then I'm going to start playing these notes, which all have different sounds from the M12 assigned to them. Remember, we're not hearing anything from this keyboard. The volume is turned down. Everything is coming out of the M12. So for instance, all these sounds coming out of here, but just being triggered or played via the MIDI cable. So I'm going to press the start button now, and we'll start recording. And when we're happy, we press the stop key, and then again the M12 asks me which pad I would like to assign that to. So I'm going to assign that to the middle pad at the top, which has currently got a splash symbol on it. So I want to replace that, so I press enter, and I'm done. Simple as that. So if I now go back to the kit, I'm just going to press store, store again, enter. Now when I hit the pad, that's the loop we've just recorded. So we can do that with anything, and I've still got all the other pads which I can play drums with. The best thing about this is you don't have to use the voices which Yamaha have assigned to each patch. You can replace them with your choice of any of the M12 voices or even your own samples. Let me show you how you do this. Now, press the voice button and hit a pad, and you'll see that the screen shows you the pad you've hit and the voice which is assigned to it. Now we're going to do exactly the same with these two keys here, and I know this one is C3. So what we do here is we make the pad number flash, in this case number 8, and we then press the plus button until we start seeing the note numbers and note names. So like I said, this is C3, so I'm going to go all the way up to C3. And at the moment, that should be a bongo high open. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and I'm going to change that to one of my samples. So in which case it's going to be this tom sound. And then I'm going to do a 2-note pattern. So we have a conga sound there. I don't want that conga sound. I'm going to replace that with something electronic. So let's have a look. That'll do. Right, so now because I've changed the voices, I need to store that kit. So I'm going to hit store and then enter twice. Right, so that's the patch saved with all the correct voices. Now we need to record. So I'm going to press pattern and I'm going to choose an empty pattern. So one which says empty pattern. That means there's no data in it at all. Then I'm going to press shift and pattern. And that drops me into record mode. And I can see this is a 4-bar loop, but I want that to be a 2-bar loop. I want quantize to be on, so it corrects my timing. And I want it to loop round so I can just add on more notes. So when that's done, I hit record. Hit stop when we're happy with it. And then it will ask me where I want to assign that pattern to. So I'm going to hit pad 3, which is currently the ride cymbal. I want to replace it, so I hit the enter button. And now, when I hit that pad, we've got my loop with my sounds. Of course, it doesn't just have to be your samples or drums and percussion that you use in the patterns. You could also use tune voices. So you could also record your own bass lines, for instance. So let's record a really simple 3-note bass line and put it on a pad, and then we can play along with it. So I have got on the keyboard, I've got these 3 notes and I've assigned 3 different tune sounds to them. And again, all the sounds are coming out of the M12. You're hearing nothing from here. This is just controlling the sounds in the M12. So I'm going to hit the pattern button. I'm going to go to an empty pattern. I'm going to hit shift and pattern and drop into record mode. I want a 4-bar loop. I want it to quantize me and I want it to loop around. So everything on the screen at the moment is absolutely correct. So I'm going to press pattern again to start recording. And I'm going to play my very simple bass line. Now I've hit stop. It's asking me if I want to assign that loop to a pad, and I do. I'm going to assign it to this pad here, pad number 1. It's got a crash on it at the moment, but I want to replace that, so I press enter. And now we have my bass line.